On the ground. Let's now speak to our reporter on the ground, Ibrahim Karanja. Good morning. Some questions, farmers are still asking after the CS gave that directive. What do you have for us on your side?
Well, good morning, Brenda. Indeed, there is lots of steps that milk goes through, right from the point it comes from the farmer in the farm to get to the shelves where you and I buy the milk from. And apparently, each and every step comes with costs, with the farmers having the price of milk being slashed. Even as the government or that directive that has been from President Uhuru Kenyatta to have processors buy milk at 35 shillings per litre, there still that does not really seem to be getting down to the farmer, because you can imagine, Brenda, there is a broker who takes this milk from the farmer at the farm. Then there are the milk cooperatives that actually give the milk now to the processors, and this actually makes the money that the farmer receives so meager that they cannot be able to sustain this particular kind of agribusiness. And we have seen from this particular region, especially the counties that are leading in the production of milk, that they have proposed to the BBI that there should be a guaranteed minimum return for their products including milk, coffee, tea and such. But is that really the solution? Will the farmers feel the benefit after having guaranteed minimum returns? Wambugu Nyamu is an expert, also an official of the Democratic Party, and he thinks actually otherwise. He thinks that there should be other ways that or other measures implemented to ensure that the farmer at the end of the day benefits. And I want to quickly engage him. Wambugu, thank you so much for speaking to us on KTN News. And we have seen Agriculture CS Peter Munya say that cooperatives should not take more than 2 shillings per litre from milk so that farmers can benefit. But do you think that directive really is what will ensure that farmers benefit from this kind of farming?
First and foremost, I would thank the government for the steps it has taken, because from my contacts in Nyandarua and Nyeri, is that actually the dairy board is pushing for a markup that the cooperatives should not take more than 3 shillings per kilo for milk. That is to cater for their costs. And it has been pushing it on the ground. And my contacts by this morning were telling me in Nyandarua the prices now are heading to 29. And there are some that are paying farmers at 32 shillings, which is good. And I would urge the minister to push hard and hard. Okay, here in Nyeri you have a little bit of problem. There are some cooperatives that are still buying at 22 shillings. And I think the dairy board in Nyeri should push up, because the regulations have been issued by the dairy board. And the regulations are that not more than 3 shillings should be deducted by the cooperatives. So if the price of milk that's set by processors by the government is 35 shillings, that means the farmer should now be earning not less than 33 shillings. If that is implemented, it's going to benefit the farmers, because the current gross margin analysis for production of milk is between 25 and 26. And it's a good step. However, it is not anchored in law. When we went to BBI in Meru, I think the Mount Kenya region, and even the other regions, not even Mount Kenya, have been talking about protection of the farmers and protecting the farmers. Guaranteed minimum returns as are being pushed by the political parties, I believe in the long run they're not going to work. Because now when you say that the price of milk should be 35, because we want the farmers to be paid 35. By the way, the minimum price a farmer should be paid so that these young people here, including you, can go into dairy farming, currently is 35 shillings. And by the way, it is payable, because the shop price for milk is about 100. And we are saying 35% should go to the farmer. It is possible. So when you talk about the guaranteed minimum return, as they are saying it, such that if the price is supposed to be paid at 35 and it is paid at 30, the exchequer should pump in the balance. I think that is the wrong model, and it is not going to work. For one, the government has never had money. So telling the government to compensate the farmers is going to be a little bit difficult. Even in coffee, when the 3 billion was given to the KPCU, it is supposed to be a moderator. To us as a party, Democratic Party, and this is what we presented in Meru, we want a guaranteed minimum return based on regulation by the government on farm gate prices.
Exactly, what do you mean?
What I mean is this. If, like now we have agreed that the cost of production of milk is 25 and the farmer should be paid 33 at the farm gate price, it should be issued as a regulation on a yearly basis and gazetted. Because currently, if you say 95%, so if the processor decides to buy at 30, so that means he'll pay less. If he decides to buy at 25, it is 95%. For us to save the farmers in this country, the law of supply and demand should not apply. Food is a basic need. It's a human right need. It is anchored in the Constitution. It is the first among the securities for human being. Eating and having food to eat is an international issue. So for us as a country, we should encourage, and you're pushing the government, and we put it in BBI. We go to pre-1991 price controls when the government used to control food prices and it used to set food prices. That's what we're agitating for. The guaranteed minimum return should, for all crops, not only milk, not only food, all of them, the government should set minimum prices that the farmers should be paid. That way, we shall save our farmers.
Well, Ombugu, kindly bring us to light, help us understand, because personally I do not understand the process that milk goes through right from the farmer to the end product which I buy from the shelves. Perhaps have you considered the costs of production? When you say that, and even as the government hopes that farmers will be getting 32 shillings per litre, that cooperatives should not take 2 shillings, perhaps have you considered every other cost that is incurred? And saying that milk should have a price, a farm gate price, how will that apply to counties? We know about devolution. 47 counties, each county might actually come up with its own farm gate price. Perhaps how do you think we should go about this?
First and foremost, the Dairy Board has done those cost analysis. They're there. They're there. They have been done. The Kenya Dairy Farmers Federation has done them, and they are coming in concurrent, that the farmer needs to be paid 35% to cater for the cost of production, the cost of his own upkeep, and of course his profit margin. They have done and found that the cooperatives need not more than 5% of that cost for processing of milk. Currently, when you're talking about the milk card being 100 shillings, they have been done. We are talking about the transporters not incurring more than 5% of the cost. The processors not more than 17% of the cost. These things have been done by Dairy Board. And Dairy Board has done it in conjunction with the milk processors and the cooperatives and the farmers. So they have already been done. And that's what I'm saying. They should be done for each and every crop. Oh, and I'll give you an example. When the president issued a directive on tea and said 80% of the money should go to the farmer, it was not arbitrary. These costing have been done, and they are real. Now, the issue is implementation of this. Already, like we're talking about milk now, Nyeri, I told you there's a cooperative buying at 22, yet KCC is buying at 35, Brookside is buying at 35. So what should we do to make sure we don't have rogue cooperatives? We only anchor this one in law. How do we assure that the next government is not going to change, or the next minister is going to change? We wanted anchored into the Constitution. How are we going to do it? We presented in the BBI that all crops, there should be regulation on farm gate price. Farm gate price, what I mean is, mkulima akilima pale kwa gate yake kabla itoke hapo. This is the amount of money that the farmer should get. That is the only way we are going to salvage this economy, and that's how we are going to salvage our farmers. You go to cost. Korosho farmers, they're being paid 15 shillings per kilo. Yet, how much do you buy korosho in the shops? 300 shillings for half a kg. And yet the farmer is being paid 15 shillings. How long are we going to allow as a government? Because all of us, I'm told the government is us. Yeah? How long are we going to allow the brokers, the processors to exploit the farmers? Why should the laws be protecting the processors and not protect the farmers? So under BBI, and I think we should separate BBI and Raila Ruto politics. That one I agree. We should separate completely. Because BBI is not about those two guys. It's not about 2020. So what we should do as BBI is put guaranteed minimum returns based at the farm gate price so that the farmer can get money and make profit.
The very last question, very last question. You have mentioned of a processor in Nyeri buying milk at 22 shillings. Let's not name it. But still you're having the government directive saying that milk should be bought at 35 shillings. We're having new KCC buying milk at 35 shillings per litre. But still, the price at which you're buying milk from the shelves is slightly 100 bob or above 100 bob. I have seen a report by the Kenya Dairy Farmers Federation that says that if the price of milk at the shelves should remain at 100 shillings, then farmers should get at least 40 shillings. And if at all farmers are still going to be getting the money that they are getting now, 32 shillings, then the price of milk should come down to 67 shillings. Perhaps what dynamics sort of guide the prices of milk at the shelves and even the price of milk that farmers have their milk bought at?
You know, a businessman wants to make maximum profit out of what he's doing. The farmer wants to make maximum profit. The broker wants to make maximum profit. The processor wants to make the maximum profit. The transporter wants to make maximum profit. So everybody wants to make maximum profit. That's where the government comes in, so that it can regulate to make sure each person along that chain gets value for money. Currently, the chain favors the processor, the cooperatives, and the broker. So we want now it anchored in law. So when the government issues those directives, we don't want them to be verbal. We want them to be gazetted. When they are gazetted with penalties, they become law. So if those rules, Munya can gazette them and give penalties, this cooperative in Nyeri buying at 22 should be taken to court. Are they be charged for exploiting the farmer? So that's what we are saying. It is possible because those who've done agriculture,
as we wind up,
yeah, those who have done agriculture, there's something, gross margin analysis is the costing you do for a produce, from the production, the cost of production, the cost of processing, labor, and exactly. Then you give yourself a markup. And actually the markup should not be less than 30% of the value. And you're saying for the milk, it should not be less than 35%. We are saying for coffee, there is a markup. For tea, there is a markup. If we put the markups for all the coffee, enforce that law, I'm telling you, are going to benefit as a country.
Thank you. Allow me to wind up at that, but this is a very interesting conversation that I think we need to package it for our viewers. But Brenda, the proposals that he has, Wambugu Nyamu says that what they really need, or what the farmers really need, are guaranteed minimum returns at the farm gate. So he calls them farm gate prices. And this, he says, should cut across the counties, all the 47 counties, and especially the counties that have dairy farmers. But will this really work? Will the farmers at the end of the day get to benefit from this type of farming? We have seen previously farmers, especially from Nyandarua, pouring their milk because of the stress they said they were getting from the farming, from the kind of farming. And that's why President Uhuru Kenyatta early in the year gave that directive that milk farmers should actually benefit with having their milk bought at 35 shillings per litre. Will that happen? Will cooperatives take 2 shillings at most, as directed by Agriculture CS Peter Munya? Of course, we'll get to check this in the markets, to talk to the farmers, and to observe as even more farmers get to add their voice on this particular issue. Brenda.
Right, Ibrahim Karanja, thank you for that in-depth explanation and an